want to learn emotional intelligence, you've heard that over and 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 over again. Basically, just read the room, right? If you come into a scenario, someone is in a down mood, it's probably not the best time to make a joke, right? The person is in a certain happy mode, don't try to bring the energy down. Just read the room. Not everybody sees the world like you do. Just keep that in mind.
God has ordained us to be communal beings, communal beings. We're not supposed to be islands to ourselves. We're not supposed to be separate from everyone else. We need relationships to thrive. I like a saying I heard before that said it takes two of us to know one of us. That's why it's not good for you to be alone, because when you're by yourself, when you're isolated, when you're not in community, when you have no family, you have no relationships, you have no connection, you don't really know yourself.
The reason for that is because by nature, we do not like to follow rules. So most people, I can't find a good guy, I can't find a good girl, blah, 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 blah. So what they're really saying, I'm not willing to go through the right process. I'm not willing to follow the right or correct rules. So when that happens, they go back at it of doing it their way again. They get exhausted.
One of the biggest reasons why men objectify women is sometimes the way we were raised. A lot of us are raised in chauvinist environments, and this is something that we have to consciously move away from. You see, a lot of us are more honoring towards the culture that we came up in, and we're not honoring God's word. I had to learn this. I had to learn how to put what God says is the correct way to operate above my culture.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Good night.
Good evening. We are excited. I'm especially excited for tonight. But tonight is day 16.
Yes.
Day 16 of the 21-day couples challenge.
Yes.
You guys have been with us. Those who are on already, you've been with us all throughout the days. And it's been a wonderful journey. We've been enjoying it. We've been learning. We've been really reminiscing, because this book we wrote a little while ago. So it was really fun for us to actually do these things as well. So that's awesome. But if you are joining us for the first time and you're saying, well, what are these guys talking about? Well, first and foremost, my name is Lou Humphreys.
And I'm Tracy Humphreys.
And we are the Marriage Mechanics. We have a marriage ministry, and what we decided to do is do something a little different. This world encourages bad behavior, and people fall into a lot of bad habits, and that spills over into relationships, marriages, and things of that nature. So we said, what if we were able to do the same thing, but with something positive, something uplifting, something that will bless your spouse? So we carefully selected 21 words that you can infuse into your marriage and relationship so that you can grow it. Because anything you do for 21 days in a row, at minimum, starts to become a habit. So we are now infusing these habits into marriages. Now, today's word is create. Now, this is one of my favorite words.
Wow. Mine too.
Tracy's favorite word is one of her favorite words as well.
Yeah.
Because we're creative, right? I'm a creative. She's a creative. That's why we were drawn to one another. And but you don't have to be a creative to be able to infuse creativity into your relationship. So, do you want to get started, Trey, or do you want me to go ahead?
I mean, you can go ahead, babe.
Go ahead. All right. Well, our opinion is this: creativity is essential for keeping your marriage from becoming monotonous. One of the chief reasons for people separating, divorce, and things of that nature is that they feel the marriage has become monotonous. They know each other, the excitement, the spark that was there in the beginning starts to die down and maybe not be resurrected again. Why? Because you fall into habits, right? You know each other. Maybe you have some children, maybe you have jobs, school, whatever, and that becomes the focus. And the very thing that attracted you, the very thing that gave you excitement and butterflies about that other person is no longer there. So if your desire is to have a long-lasting marriage, a marriage that you're excited about, that you look forward to, that still gives you maybe not butterflies, but at least 2 butterflies, then you've got to infuse some creativity into your relationship. Now, as I mentioned before, Tracy and I, that's natural for us because we're creatives. But guess what? Even creative people need to work on being creative because life just is not going to shift because you're a creative. Things are still going to happen. Bills are going to happen. Events are going to happen. Ups, downs, all the, as my wife says, the vicissitudes of life will still happen. So you want to make sure that you're constantly trying ways to keep things fresh and exciting. And if you're not doing that, it's okay, but let's be mindful and start thinking of how you can add creative spark to your relationship. All right. Just think of it like this. If you are developing, if you guys have a routine, every day is starting to become like the next day, that's a good sign that there's monotony starting to come in there. So you might want to start thinking, how can I switch it up? I'm going to give you a couple things that you can do, and then I'm going to pass it over to Tracy because I know she has some powerful things to share with you. So here's some ways to keep your relationship from becoming monotonous. This was actually one of the words that we had before, are gifts, right? If you find that your day is becoming monotonous, or you find that your marriage is becoming predictable, get a gift. Get a gift of something that your spouse absolutely loves, but is not expecting. Don't do it on a birthday. Don't do it on Valentine's Day. Do it just randomly, right? Do something like, if your wife likes Mexican food, come home with some tamales, right? Or whatever, chimichangas or whatever, right? Whatever is exciting or is her favorite food or his favorite food, right? Maybe you could get them, maybe they enjoy, and it doesn't have to be expensive. It just has to be well thought out and something that would break the monotony. So if your spouse likes music, for example, maybe you give them a gift of a concert. Maybe there's a poetry reading if they're into poetry, and you got tickets, or you say, hey, I know it's here. Come on, let's go. Where are we going? Don't worry about it. Let's go, and give them the gift of that. So that's an idea of some kind of creative gifts that you can do. Travel. Now, my wife loves to travel. That's one of the things she told me before we got married. She's been all over this world. And but guess what? As much as she likes to travel, she hasn't been everywhere. So stop and think about where your spouse has or has not been. Maybe they have a favorite place. Yeah. Maybe they have a place that they've always wanted to go, but they didn't get a chance to. Or watch this. Maybe there's something locally in another state that you can do. And you say, hey, where are we going? Oh, we're going on a little fun adventure. We're going on a trip. Pack your bags. Sometimes just saying that, pack your bags, sounds exciting, even if you're going only an hour north or an hour south or just 2 hours
something
west.
Spontaneous.
Yeah, something spontaneous. Because when you start going to new places, you're now creating new adventures. Sometimes travel could be going on a cruise or a bus ride. So you don't have to do the driving yourself. A train ride.
Yes.
You know, Tracy and I, we live in the Northeast. We live in New Jersey. We might hop on a train and go to DC or North Carolina or something like that, where you can, it doesn't have to be like a overnight trip, but at least something quick as a little getaway. Food is always a nice way of breaking it up. Maybe you've been eating chicken all the time. Spice it up, buy some duck, maybe go get some shrimp, or maybe go to a restaurant you've never been to. Or try some fruit. Bring home. I remember the first time Tracy brought home dragon fruit I was so intrigued because I had never seen anything that looked like this. And it was exciting. Now, dragon fruit doesn't taste all that great, right? But it was exciting. It looked fun, and it was fun to eat. Why? It just breaks up the monotony. It gives you something exciting. And you see, exciting doesn't always have to mean expensive. It doesn't always have to mean over the
Big,
top, or
yeah.
it can just be something outside of the norm, right? And these are things that you could, now in your day-to-day operations, right? Maybe you're at work and somebody tells you something, you know, they tell you about something exciting or new, or, hey, try this. Very often what I do, I say, hey, if it's exciting to me, I figure it might be exciting for my spouse. So I'll try to pack it up or wrap it up. If it's food, if I go to a restaurant and I'm eating something and I know, wow, Tracy would really like this, I try to save some or bring her a dessert or something, just so she's not expecting it. So when I come home, wow, look at this. Whoa, it breaks up the monotony of day-to-day living.
Yeah,
Interests.
absolutely.
Go ahead, babe.
Yeah.
You want to share?
No, well, I love what you're saying. You know, when I think of create, some of the synonyms of create is to produce, design, make, fashion, build, construct. It means to invent. Also, when I think about being creative, of course, one of my number one things is building a business together. You know, I think that when spouses have common interests or a heart for entrepreneurship, a heart to step outside the box and do something different, I love that. And that is something that you and I, from the very start, we've done things like real estate. We've done, I used to be a real estate agent. I've done mortgages. We've done so many different types of businesses and investments that, you know, many of them have been lucrative over the years. And so I love that creative process with us. We've always created stuff together, which is why we created Marriage Mechanics together. You know, this is more of a passion project for us. This was something that the Lord led us to do, and we're doing it together. And I love that about us. We're always creating something together, building something together, and it does keep the marriage exciting. It keeps us looking forward to things. We're always planning things, and whether it's travel or it's, you know, ministry, or it's, you know, something with our home, or, you know, so that's one of the things that I really, really love. We have Marika joining us. Hey, Marika.
Hey,
good to
lady,
see
how you doing?
Long time. So, you know, creating a vision together again. You know, what is your vision as a couple? I believe that as a couple, individually and together, you have a purpose. There's something that God has put you together to create, and create can be your family. You know, you come together, you have children, you know, creating, you know, different projects. It's just, it's wonderful. One of the things also that a lot of people don't think about in creating things is when two people come together and you get married and you're moving into a home, what is your styles, right? Because when you meet a person, and I'll give you an example. There's this woman I used to be in contact with years ago. She wanted a particular type of furniture for her home. And she kept sending her husband all these pictures. And he was like, oh, no, I don't like those styles, because her style was more sophisticated and everything. But he wanted what looked like dorm furniture, right? You know, like plaid, burgundy, just plain. And she wanted something a little bit more exotic and with more colors and more style. And they were having a conflict because he wanted dorm furniture and she wanted grown and sophisticated furniture. So believe it or not, even when you come together and you're building your home, what is his style? What is your style? What are the colors you like? Some people may like loud colors. You may like earth tones, like browns and beige and things like that. Believe it or not, coming together and designing your home is a beautiful creative project, right? What kind of furniture do you want? What colors do you want to paint the room? What kind of house do you want? So again, you're working together to build your home so that it can reflect the both of you. It shouldn't be, where it's just the wife's thing. I like when Lou gives me input because he has to live there. I want the colors and I want the environment to reflect not just me, but I want it to reflect him as well, because we're going to be living in here long term.
Right.
Hi, Sasu. Thank you so much.
Oh, yes. Hello.
Yes.
And Tracy, you just said something that...
Did we say hi to Kelsey? I believe we did. But if we didn't, hi, Kelsey.
Oh, hey, Kelsey. I'm sorry. We didn't acknowledge you. But, you touched on something, Tracy, and it's interests. When you have a common interest, or even if you don't have a common interest, get interested in what your spouse is interested in, because that in alone keeps the creative juices flowing. Like you heard what Tracy says. Tracy said, she asked for my input. Now, certain things I would defer to her because they're really not that important to me. But what I know is she's interested in it. So I become interested. And I say to myself, instead of just saying whatever you want, look at it. If I really enjoy it, I really like it, or I say, oh, I don't like that, I give her my honest feedback, and she knows when I don't play. Like, so I'm not going to tell her I like it if I don't like it. So if I tell her that's what I like, then she knows that's what we like. Or if I say, well, babe, it doesn't matter, but if you could pick it, I really mean it, it's really not that important to me. So, but the thing that I really wanted to know is that interests play a big role. Sometimes with creativity, I remember you always want to feed something to your spouse. Now, Tracy overheard me. I'll give you an example. She overheard me. I was really into the bass, right? I like the bass guitar. I like bass in music. I was just fascinated by it. I can't really play a musical instrument, right? Yet. But my wife heard that, and then she got me a bass guitar. I was blown away when she did it because I really want to learn it. It's something that I really want to sit down and learn and enjoy, because I like the sound of it. I really do. And that's the thing that I'm saying is that that is how, when you are interested in what your spouse is interested, or you feed into that, now you're keeping the creative juices flowing. You're breaking up the monotony of life, because now in another couple months, when things settle down, I'm gonna be on that guitar trying to learn it.
But you have lessons,
and I have the lessons.
You have the lessons and the bass guitar waiting for you.
Right.
So we want to get with the program.
That's right.
But I love that, babe, and you're right. One of the things though that I want to talk about tonight, that I really think is going to be impactful for couples, and that is the we factor. I call it the we factor. And here's why. Because very often when two people get married, they fail to set boundaries with family, with friends. And so sometimes you have couples that come into the marriage, they bring in all these external factors, and they really don't get a chance to develop the we factor in your marriage.
Correct.
Because when you're thinking about the we and the us, here's what happens. It now becomes an environment that is centered around the both of you. You're going to create new traditions together. You're going to decide what your environment's going to look like. You're going to prioritize one another. You're going to start doing a lot of things and creating your world, creating your home, creating a sense of this is the Humphreys or whatever your last name is, right? And so sometimes people are not very intentional about that. So you get married, and then sometimes you got in-laws stepping in. Sometimes you have friends stepping in, friends that's been there for a long time. It's not that they're no longer important. It's just that the priorities has to shift. So when your spouse comes into your life, you have to make it a priority to make sure that this new season is about the two of you. And so you're going to have to put boundaries there. You can't just have your parents and your friends coming over whenever, because again, you're a new couple, or it doesn't matter whether you've been married a few days, months, years, it doesn't matter. But you want to create an environment that says, this is us. So when people walk into your environment, they want to know that the both of you came together to create that environment. And a lot of married couples don't do that. Yeah. They just kind of go in together and they wing it. But I promise you, when people come into your environment and they see how close you are, they see how the two of you have come together to design your home, they see how you prioritize each other, then anybody that tries to come in and cross those boundaries, both of you are going to step up and be like, hey, not here, not in this environment. Right. And both of you will be just as passionate about keeping the peace in your environment. And so, yes, Sasu, boundaries are vital. They're very, very vital in your marriage, whether it's, like I said, new or you've been married 30 years. And if you never set those boundaries, it's never too late. It's never too late to go back and recreate an environment that says, this is us. And when you walk through that door, you have to respect this environment, us, and respect our home, right? And so this is not an environment for your siblings or anybody to come in and just have their way. And so
can I just expound on that a little bit? What Tracy is saying is so important, and we see this a lot with married couples, is that when you become married to your spouse, right, it says the two shall become one flesh. So you are now a new nuclear family. You've had your family previously. Now you are creating a new nuclear family. Maybe you have some children, maybe you don't, but regardless, it's you and your spouse as the new family. It doesn't say you separate from your old family, but this is the new priority. So with that being said, like Tracy said, you have to create an environment that is reflective of this new covenant, this new relationship, this established relationship. And part of the ways in which you can do that is creating new traditions that are unique to your family, your new family. When I say family, I'm talking about the new marital family. And again, because look, and we understand culture plays a very big role. Whatever your culture is, it dominates your thinking. And some cultures are very family oriented, which is great. But there needs to be, like Tracy said, a boundary between the family and your new family, because this new relationship should take the priority. And this is the reason why we say, like, sometimes creating new experiences with your spouse can help foster that. Because if you don't create new experiences with your spouse, your memory is only going to think about the previous experiences that you've had with your family. And while those are good feelings, good memories, which is fine, there's nothing wrong with that, you want to create new ones. I know Tracy and I, when we were first married, I remember we used to do a couples retreat, which is ironic, right? We used to we're still doing that. And but it was more, it wasn't as structured as it is now. It was just more for fun, right? So we would do these trips. I remember we went whitewater rafting. Now, what was so awesome about that is I had never done that, and I had never even thought about doing that. But we got a bunch of people who would never think about doing that. And we had a great time. Now, we didn't go in the big professional one. We went in a small rapids, but it was fun. We laughed, we got wet, we had a great time. Young couples just hanging out, having a good time. But what did it do? It created a new experience, a new tradition.
And you know what? I remember
thought process.
I remember when we actually rented a yacht one time, and us and another couple, they were like, Tracy, y'all always doing something. It was like, hey, let's rent a yacht.
I don't think it was a yacht. It was a bigger boat, but it wasn't a yacht.
Okay, maybe not a yacht.
We definitely couldn't afford a yacht.
But it was a boat.
Yeah.
And you know, it was powered, wasn't it? Like it was like a powered
boat.
Yeah,
it was powered. It had a power
But
engine.
we packed a picnic basket with food and all this, and we had the most amazing time that day. You know, that couple was like, they never forgot that. Mm-hmm. So we're always creating fun and amazing memories. You know, so I really believe that as couples, even sometimes, yes, you can, you know, do fun things with other couples that, you know, couples that align with you and everything. Mm-hmm. So I think that that's another way to keep things kind of fresh and fun. Sometimes it doesn't just always have to be the two of you. Right. You can have good friendships that you create over time that, you know, y'all hang out and travel and do things together.
And you know, Sasu says, I find my husband likes his man cave with his television. I learned in marriage that a man cave is important when building a home together. And I wanted to touch on that because it is true. And it's good because whether it's a man cave or a she shed, I know that's what they call it, where a woman's space is. Sometimes it's good to maintain your own personal space. Maybe you have an area in the house that's yours. You know, Tracy has her own office, right? So that's her space. She can decorate it how she wants. She can be there. Maybe she wants to pray. Maybe she wants to just relax. Maybe she wants to do some work, take a call, whatever the case may be. Yes. That's her personal space. And again, it's not to say that it excludes me, but it's important for her to have a little space that is hers and hers only, and vice versa. I like my man cave, I guess, if you want to call it that, where I go if I want to watch the game or if I want to just draw or do something creative. That's my own personal space. And it's good to do that because you've created a space for that. And you see where this word, why we keep stressing this word, is because you want to think of those things. Maybe your spouse doesn't have it. Maybe you say, well, Lou, how am I going to create a space? Man, I live in an apartment. I live in a one-bedroom apartment. Guess what? You know what? Maybe on the left side on the couch, that's that person's space. If you see that person's corner, leave that person in that corner. Maybe they're reading a book. Maybe they want to pray. Sometimes when my wife is in a certain spiritual mode, maybe she's in a praying mode or a worshiping mode, I'll just go in the bedroom and I'll leave her to be. Or if she's in the bedroom, I'll come out of the bedroom and leave her to enjoy her time in her moment. Sometimes I like to read or I like to create. And Tracy knows when I'm getting my creative mode, she'll just give me time to do my thing. And that's healthy for a relationship, because if you need to be on your spouse 24/7, guess what's going to happen? They're going to feel suffocated. They're not overwhelmed. Sometimes you need to give them that room to breathe.
I'm one of those people that need space. Like, you know, there's a time when we're together and we're doing a lot of things together, but I also have my moments where I really just need space to, like Lou says, whether I'm in prayer or worship, or whether I just want to rest, or whether I want to read, or I want to create. Like sometimes I'm very much of a creative. So sometimes ideas come to me and I'll be on that computer and I will be putting down the ideas or whatever. And in those moments, I don't like to be disrupted. I don't like anyone kind of in my space when I'm being creative, because I don't want to be distracted from that thought or those ideas that are coming to me. So yeah, definitely it's good for each of you to have your space. as well, wherever it is, no matter what size space you have. You can live in a big mansion or you can live in a small apartment, still find that space for each other. Maybe like Lou said, if you have a small 1-bedroom apartment, maybe sometimes you can be like, hey, I need quiet time. So you go, and one can go in the bedroom and close the door. The other one can be outside in the living room, maybe watching TV or working or doing whatever. So it's just good to know when you need that space also.
Mm-hmm.
There are times when your spouse, you can tell when they're like, I need my space. And so don't make it a problem because your spouse needs space. Just because they're like, I need quiet time or I need to be alone to rest. Don't think that there's anything bad happening in your marriage. It's just that we all sometimes just need that personal space to just do whatever it is that we want to do.
And, babe, can I just jump in there real quick? We're talking about infusing creativity into your marriage, right? And when you're doing this causes excitement, but more importantly, it causes growth. You know how many people that we have counseled or we've talked to who tell me they are the same now than they were X years ago.
Mm-hmm.
If you are the same person you were 10 to 15 years ago, I want you to realize something. You are what's called stagnant. You have not matured or grown. And I'm not saying that, I'm not talking about principles or philosophies or your faith. Those things are constant. What I'm talking about is you should have matured and grown. I mean, you're at least 10 to 15 years older than you were.
Yeah.
So you can't think, your mind should not be the same as it was when you were much younger. And this is the reason why a lot of couples have challenges, because you constantly have to create a new reality. You're creating the new present.
Mm-hmm.
The person that I am, I was not the same 15 years ago. And I'm not the same Lou Humphreys that I was 15 years before that. When I was 20, when Tracy met me, I'm not the same man that I was when she first met me, and vice versa. So you want to make sure that you keep your creativity and grow with your spouse. Like you say, wow, oh man, my spouse is changing. Okay, that's great. I'm changing. So let me change with her. Let her change with me. And I don't like the word change. I like the word evolve better, because that's what it's about. Go ahead, babe. I'm sorry. I didn't want to.
No, it's okay. One of the things that I want to share, there are negative consequences when you fail to put in boundaries, right? When you fail to create your space in a particular way. Some of the failures that you might experience is over-involved in-laws and family.
Yeah.
Over-involved, to the point to where it can cause the couple to get into conflicts and arguments, right? Unclear decision-making processes, right? So when you're not clear about the decisions, when you don't sit down and have regular discussions on how you want to do things, how you want to pay bills or whatever, believe it or not, that's a whole creative process. And so when you're not clear about those things, it causes unnecessary arguments. When you are not clear about how you're going to do holidays, there have been years when my husband and we're going to this house and that house, and it gets tiresome for us. Like sometimes people don't understand on the holidays. Sometimes you literally want to be in your home. You want to cook in your kitchen. And for years we're driving all around this house and that house and that house. And that gets very tiring for us. So you have to set up a plan where you're like, maybe every other year, maybe, this year we'll go to family. Next year, everybody's coming to our house. And so you want to create a plan that doesn't, where the two of you are not feeling overwhelmed, having to run all over the place for holidays. Deal with insecurities. What are some of the things that causes insecurities between the both of you? Again, I know there are some couples where the husband may have a female friend that he's been friends with for a long time. Now that you're in the picture, there has to be some boundaries there. There has to be a level of communication that's different.
Yeah.
Or the husband is going to have to tell that friend, which I'm going to be honest with y'all, that's another
That's
Facebook.
a whole other, yeah.
Let me not get into that, because that's going to sway me away from the topic matter. But, again, creating an environment when you have uncertain expectations, right? These things cause, yet again, conflict. When you have unhealthy communication, yet again, conflict. So the creative process is where you're going to sit down and talk about it. Right now, your communication style with your family growing up may be that y'all yell at each other. You raise your voice when you talk. There's some people that use curse words. There's some people that make little insults. And believe it or not, for some families, that's normal.
Yeah.
Which, I don't want to judge, but it's not, that wouldn't be our way. But again, you want to sit down and have a conversation about how you're going to communicate. You're not going to raise your voice, because for some people, raising your voice, that's normal. They've done it. They do it with their siblings, with their parents. They yell at each other, and then 5 minutes later, they make up. But to another person, to your spouse, that may be a toxic thing. Like, your spouse may not be able to put up with that. So these are things you sit and you talk about and you kind of work through, so that, again, it doesn't cause unnecessary conflicts and arguments in your marriage. You want to have a peaceful home. You want to have a joyful home. So the more that you put on the table and discuss and come up with a plan, create a plan, what you will accept, what you will not accept, you're going to notice that you have a much more peaceful environment. And so what are some of the things that you must do as a couple? You want to be each other's greatest supporters and confidant, right? If you cannot tell your spouse, if you cannot trust and that you can share something with your spouse and it doesn't go any further, then that's a challenge. So you should be each other's confidant. You should be each other's greatest supporter. It doesn't matter. Your cheers should be louder than everyone else's. Even if other people may not seem to cheer them on, or even if other people might be looking at them weird, you cheer them on, because that's your spouse. If nobody else has their back, you better have their back. Right. You want to feel heard, understood, and be in control of important decisions together. You want to be heard and understood. You want your spouse to be heard and understood, and you want to feel heard and understood. That's a part of the design process of your marriage, of your relationship. You also want to be where it's you're both equally working on the relationship. If there's a challenge, it shouldn't be just one seeking counsel, one always wanting to communicate and saying, what's the matter? We need to talk about this. Because over time, what that does is it wears down the person. We only have capacity for so much. So this is a teamwork process. So sometimes, it's good when you're both looking at your marriage or your relationship and saying, hey, we need to come together and talk about some things. I feel like some things are off, or we need to come together and do this, when both people have the best interest of the marriage. Right. So that's really what I wanted to share with you all, is that you want to sit down, create and design your marriage. Create it, design it, design what you want your marriage to look like. What do you want your communication to look like over time? What do you want your household to look like? What do you want your children to be like? What kind of marriage do you want with your husband or with your wife?
Kind of life.
Whatever, what kind of life? What do you want your finances to look like? What do you want your home to look like? Where do you want to live? Do you maybe want to, when you first get married, you might live in one location, but maybe 5 years later, the two of you are like, you know what? We want to live by the beach. That's where I'm headed. I don't know about any.
She loved that.
Lou is not as big on living by the ocean, but I am huge on that.
Right.
If we could move by the ocean tomorrow, I would be a happy camper.
Now we have come to a compromise for that, right? This is just to show you we're creating a future goal, and she wants to live by the beach, right? So I had to dig a little deeper. Is it the beach or is it water that you want to live by? Oh, I like the water. I like to be near the water. Okay. So for me, I said, I don't mind being close to the water, but not right up under the water. So I wouldn't mind being close where you can see the water, but maybe you're on a hill or you're a little further back from the water. So we said that we would eventually go get something like that. But guys, I wanted to share this though. Because Tracy just said some really beautiful, powerful things. And the bottom line is creativity will keep you as a couple playful. It will deepen your connection. It will keep things exciting. It will keep things evolving. It will grow your communication, because guess what? Sometimes when you create a new experience, when you create an environment that you never thought about before, guess what? Something in you blossoms, something in you grows. A new part of you is stimulated that may have never been stimulated before. And you keep the joy in your relationship. And that may seem like something so obvious, but do you know how many marriages are devoid of joy? They almost feel like, I'm just doing time here in this relationship, or they feel like, okay, well, I'm supposed to do this in my marriage, and let me just do this, and let me go ahead and let's do this. And it's just one person running the marriage. Right. Usually when it gets monotonous like that, it's one that's just kind of droning on, kind of following the other. But when you come together and you're designing your marriage, and again, Kelsey said all great premarital information. One of the things that I want to share, that's someone we have to call back as soon as we get off this call. But anyway, sorry guys, but the thing about what Kelsey was saying is that it's premarital information, and it's true. But here's the thing. You can start over anytime. You could be together 30 years and you say, the life we're living is for the birds. We got to make some changes. You can sit down and redesign your marriage, redesign the next 30 years. You can sit down and say, you know what? We live in a big house. We don't want a big house anymore. We want a little cottage by the ocean, or a little cottage in the mountains, or we want to live off the grid. You know, people are doing different things these days. And so you may decide to switch it up and change your life and redesign your life, right? Now that we're older, now that we're retired, what is our life going to look like? Do we want to travel a lot? Do we want to start a business? It's never, ever too late to redesign your marriage, redesign your life,
right? Take out the old furniture, bring in new furniture. Maybe you've had, cream colored walls all your life. Now you want to put in some different colors, and you want to buy new furniture, and you want to redesign the rooms, with a particular theme, whatever. That's the beauty of marriage. You can start over, you can renew it, you can do different things at any time. And that's what brings in that excitement. So guess what? You want to redesign your house after 30 years of marriage. Guess what? Now you sit down, maybe you're going to hire a contractor to come in, and maybe you want to tear down some walls or put in a new kitchen. And then the two of you have to go to the kitchen store and redesign it on the computer and say, okay, this is how we want the kitchen to look. Now you have a brand new kitchen. And it's exciting now, because now you want to cook more in your new kitchen, and you want to bring people over and have family come over so that they can see your brand new kitchen or your brand new redesign. Or maybe, like I said, you start a new business after 30 years of marriage. You may decide that you want to go into I don't know, the trucking business, or you want to start, a business, you want to do a franchise or start a laundromat or whatever. I'm just throwing things out there. But the bottom line is, whenever you find that things are getting stagnant, all it means is that it's time for change. All it means is that it's time to sit down together and regroup, redesign, recreate something new.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid to fail, because you might infuse a creative thing and it may not work, or you say, I don't really like that. But it could also be legendary. You could do something like, oh my goodness, and it just changed. But the point of the matter, whether it fails or it succeeds, the fact is that you are now doing something. You're actively working on your marriage. I think about several years ago, I wanted to do something creative, something different. And I don't know if you guys know, but my wife is a very good cook, right? She's awesome. But I said, you know what? I want to do something. I saw something online, so I said, let me try. And I surprised her, and we went for a cooking class, right? And we just went on a quick class. I didn't know whether she would like it or not, but she enjoyed it. It was fun. It was different. And guess what? Like Tracy said, it's something that we do all the time, which is cooking. It made it fun.
Yeah.
So that's just something to keep in mind about just being creative with things that may even seem normal or ordinary. Just spice it up a little bit.
Absolutely. Another thing that I want to share with y'all, we're giving away a lot of things for free, y'all. We're giving it away because we want couples to thrive. Could we put all of this stuff in a book? Could we be like, you know what? We're just going to sell it, but we're sowing into marriages. We're sowing into relationships, new relationships and existing relationships, because we want to see you guys thrive. This is truly a passion project, and this is truly a project from our heart. One of the last things that I want to share with you all, is just when in the creating process, when you are creating a we environment, right? This is our home. This is our life. This is our marriage. What do you want it to look like? And so some of the questions is, what distinguishes you from others? Who are you as a couple? Who are you? Why are you together? Yes, you love one another. Yes, you're soulmates and all those wonderful, juicy things. But what is the ultimate purpose for the both of you? What are you together to do something for the kingdom? What is God calling the two of you to do to serve the kingdom of God? Right? So, and how do you interact with others? What do you want your interaction with others to be like? Are you going to be a friendly couple? Are you going to be the couple that have a lot of boundaries? There's some people that they keep people at arm's length, and that's a good thing. But it's okay if you're the kind of couple that you like to be friendly, you like to meet new people. But one of the things you have to know up front is that's going to come with some little challenges. You have to decide as a couple, how deep do you want to go with other people, or how much you want to let them in, or how much information you want to share with people. For me, I'm a sharing person. I'm sharing to the point to where my husband sometimes is like, "Ooh, babe, no, don't, no," um, he's not, he's not, he's not as sharing as I am. And over the years, I have learned to dial it back, because he's like, why are you forthcoming to people that are not forthcoming to you? So you have to be careful, how much you give, how much you let people in also, because sometimes people can be like sheep, wolves in sheep. No, what is it?
Yeah, wolves in sheep clothing.
Yeah, wolves in sheep clothing. And so we have to be careful. But how do you interact with people as a couple? You want to set that kind of standard, or, set those boundaries. And you want to talk about, your values, your choices, all of these things. You want to sit and talk about those things over the years. And guess what? They're going to change. As time goes on.
Yeah.
They're going to change. And so those are the things that I want you all to do, whether you're listening to this and you've been married for a while, or you're about to get married, or you're newly married.
Excuse me. Create
your environment. Put boundaries in there, and make sure that you create a home of peace. Anyone that comes with drama, the both of you have to make a decision that you're going to distance yourself from those people. Anyone that comes with any funny stuff, guess what? You're going to have to put those people out keep them on the outside, because these are the things I have seen. Now, I saw this show that a friend of mine sent to me. I saw this show, and this show was so heartbreaking, because one of the wife's mother moved in, but the wife and the mother doesn't get along. But the mother-in-law is very close to the son, and the way that the son-in-law. And so the two of them really bonded together. But what was happening was the daughter was having a lot of problems with it. The wife was having major problems with it. But they just kept kind of bonding together. The mother-in-law and the son-in-law, they were going places together and leaving the wife out. They were roller skating together. They
broke a lot of boundaries.
It was the most inappropriate thing I have watched in a long time. And it made me so upset, because the wife was pregnant and she was going through so much, but the husband kept making her feel like, you're just overreacting. Oh, you're such a drama queen, and things like that. And I'm telling you, I wanted to jump through the screen. But guess what? They didn't have proper boundaries in place. They did certain things you could tell they didn't communicate. They did not create a we environment. They didn't create the environment for their last name. What they did was they just came in and just allowed whatever. So you have to tighten the hedge around your life and your marriage. And that is what's going to cause you to have longevity, because your environment should speak to the both of you, that every time you're together, whether you're together or not, there is an understanding and a clear understanding that this is about us. This is our environment. This is our home.
Yeah.
We created this together. We built this together.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's going to keep you having a lasting, loving, joyful marriage.
Absolutely. And Sasu, to answer your question, do we have a book? Yes, we do. And this is it right here. Where is it? It is
The 21-day couples challenge.
And that's what we're going over for the next 21 days. And we just wanted to make sure we infused this word create into your relationship so you can get a understanding of how you can infuse creativity in your marriage, how you can create the atmosphere for your marriage. And I think that's so important. It's so vital for the longevity of your marriage. As I mentioned yesterday, there's a lot of people that focus on the wedding, but they don't focus on the longevity of a marriage. And yes, it's on Amazon, Sasu. Just the link is right there. You could just click on the link if you so desire.
Actually, she's on YouTube, so we have to put it on YouTube.
No worries. But it is on Amazon. If you just put our names on Amazon, you'll see it. But guys, I wanted to share, make sure you guys understood where creativity is concerned. And again, once again, I'm just going to remind you, February 8th and 9th, we're having the Man Up Conference. The first and hopefully a series of conferences where we're going to be pouring into the men. My wife is the impetus and inspiring me. She created the atmosphere that made me want to go through with the idea that I had about this, because so many men are confused. They're not sure what their place is, particularly kingdom men. There's a lot of men who are coming out of the kingdom or don't want anything to do with the kingdom. Why? Because they can't relate to the kingdom. And this is why we wanted to do this. This is something that was a passion project of mine. And it's going to be February 8th and 9th in Edgewater, New Jersey. I'm going to put the link here. If you know of a man that is in the area or even outside of the area, tell them to sign up for it. If it's your son, your husband, your daughter, your cousin, your grandfather, whomever, encourage them to go. Sow a seed. We have men buying tickets for younger men to go because it's so important. And guess what? If you're out of town, we negotiated a deal with the hotel. It's a very reasonable monthly rate. There's going to be food.
Monthly rate?
Daily nightly rate. It's only one night. So
I was like, a month. Wow. We're going to be there for a long time.
Hey, speak it. But what it's going to be something powerful, in my opinion. And I think the lineup that we have is powerful. Men of different backgrounds, men of different skills. There's going to be networking. So bring your business cards and things like that, because we're going to do things that men would appreciate and men could get value from. And it's only 2 days, so we can't do everything, but we're going to have prizes. We're going to have a bunch of things. So encourage your guys to come out. And guys, if you're listening to this, I encourage you to come out and enjoy with us.
Poured into.
Yes.
You're going to be poured into like never before. You're going to be among some true kingdom men, men that truly has a heart for other men, and not just for other men. Like Pastor Kevin, many of you know Pastor Kevin Ewing, and his teachings, how powerful. He's real. He's transparent. He's very, what you see is what you get. My husband is like that, the same way he is on right here on us going on live on social media. When you meet him in person, you probably would love him even more in person, because everybody loves Lou. You have Darnell, a dynamic, powerful young man. And then you have Joel Ross, another dynamic and powerful kingdom man, very down to earth. I love Joel's laughter. Every time he laughs, I laugh, because he has one of those kind of infectious laughs. But these are men that are stewarding properly what God has given them. They're doing well in their ministry, well in their families. You know, the fruit of their life speaks a lot of volume. So when people come, they're going to get the real thing. It's not going to be a bunch of mixture. And it's going to be an environment where the men can feel free just to be themselves. You know, it's a no judgment zone.
Mm-hmm.
It's a zone where men will be able to come. There's going to be Q&A. There's going to be breakout sessions, but there's also going to be powerful kingdom teachings where the men are going to learn from these powerful men of God. And so I truly believe that those of you, your husbands, this will be a gift for them. This is something you as a wife sow it into your husband and send him so that he can enjoy you know, a time of pouring in. You know, men, a lot of the times too, they pour out. A lot of men, they're pouring out to their wives, pouring out to their children, going to the job. This is an opportunity for them to get a little time off and for them to be involved in something that's just about them and nobody else.
Yeah.
And so that's what I love about this event. And, you know, of course, I'm speaking so passionately about it because I'm the secretary, y'all. I'm the assistant that is, you know, the servant that is serving to help put all of this together. So I'm kind of behind the scenes. I'm watching my husband. I'm listening to him, and he's doing his best to create some things for the men, you know, that is, you know, that's going to be so powerful. And Sasu says, what will the wives be doing? I have a little something for the wives. You know,
but
today,
be mindful. The wives will be separate from.
Yeah,
where
we're not going to be, of course,
Right.
we're not going to be
It's going to be all
close
men
to the
in
room or whatever.
room.
Yeah,
So-
but the wives, we're going to come together, and you know, that is so funny. You should ask that, Sasu, because today, as I was driving, I felt the Lord drop something in my spirit to do with the women. So we'll have something fun. Sasu, are you and your husband coming? I wasn't sure if you guys are going to be there, but yeah, we're going to be having a good time. We're going to sit around and talk and have some fun times. And like I said, there will be, yes. Okay. So you're going to be there. Yeah. We can't be nosy. No. I said yesterday I was going to put on a beard and a mustache and go and put on some jeans and a t-shirt and sit in the back of the room. You know, but no, honestly, we will gather and do some fun things as well. So I'm also working on a little bit of an agenda for the wives so that we're not just kind of sitting around all day. So
all right,
that's it.
That's it. So guys, really and truthfully, we thank you. Guess what? Before we sign off, we have to give you what tomorrow's word is going to be.
Yes. What are we talking about tomorrow?
Tomorrow's word is laughter.
Laughter. Yes.
Another one of my favorite
jokes.
Another one of my favorite things to do, and essential for any relationship.
Yes, so very, very essential.
We will get into that maybe even in a unique way tomorrow. So,
yeah. And you know what? Something I just thought of something. One of the things that I want to share, just for the record, in the book, some of what we've talked about is not even in there. And that's why you can be creative with the book. You can take the word and apply it to your life in the way you need to apply it. Mm-hmm. But I guarantee you, you do this for 21 days, you incorporate these words and put them into action, you will see a difference in your marriage.
Yes.
You're going to see a difference in your marriage. So I promise you, put those words in action in your unique and powerful way. Mm-hmm. We're just giving you our word, you know, and but you can take it and expound on it and make it personal to you and your spouse, right? Sasu says, I'm trying to convince him. My husband always pouring out. And I want, yes, this kind of environment is for a man like that. The one that's always giving to others, always doing for others. Yeah, encourage him to come and just be in the room. If he just want to come and listen, he can do that. And there will be food, he can eat and listen and just be relaxed. This is going to be a very relaxed environment. One of the days, my husband is giving everyone t-shirts. So one of the days everyone will wear their t-shirts with jeans. But other than that, it's a very laid back, easy and relaxed environment. So it'll be fun for him and also fun for you, Sasu, because I would love to meet you in person. So that's it, y'all.
That's it. Well, we thank you guys for rocking with us. And listen, if you've been with us this far, let's go all the way to day 21. We have 5 more days left.
Yes, 5 more days.
Absolutely.
Yes. Hey, Rosanna.
Hey,
Good
Rosanna.
to see you.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
All right.
So, all right, everyone. God bless you. We will see y'all
Mañana.
tomorrow. What's another way to say goodbye? What's another language?
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
See you later.
Sayonara.
Yeah, cuídate. See you later.
Bye, everyone. God bless you.
Take care, everybody.
Love y'all.
Be good.
If you wanna be heard and you want it to last, you gotta put in work. Forget about your past. Marriage mechanic.